greenhouse has started to go absolutely crazy. It's filled with all of my starts that I have. They're full-sized and they're definitely ready to get planted out. This weekend I'm hoping to be able to sell some of them, and then the rest I'm going to get planted out into the garden. But I also have all of my spring crops that I experimented, and it looks like my timing was pretty accurate on these because it's been a month and they're ready for harvest now. We've already started eating some of the mustard greens. But the radishes are ready as well, and I'm gonna do a really big harvest in on them today. I'm gonna start getting them out, get some into my fridge so I can start eating on these, because in the next couple days I should probably harvest them all out, and whatever I'm not gonna want to eat in the next, week, I should donate away and get the space cleared, because I need to be ready to get my tomatoes and my peppers and my eggplants in here, and this is exactly where they're going. Things are starting to look really great in here, so I'm going to give you a quick tour of just everything that we have going on. I have a lot of tomatoes that I've started potting up. I have almost all of the tomatoes potted and ready to go. At this point, it's getting difficult to actually walk through the greenhouse because I have so many things just filling up every little space that I have left. I still have some work to do on potting up my peppers, and then I also need to get my onions planted out. They're finally of a nice good size and I need to get them into the ground. I also have a bunch of starts of different brassicas. I have some broccoli and cauliflower and cabbages. I have kohlrabi. I have kales, as well as a few other plants that like to have some heat to get started, like my basil. These here are cucamelons, which I almost didn't think was going to do anything. They took so long to pop out. I got some New Zealand spinach and then some flowers. Got some alyssum, some cosmos, just some basic stuff like that, as well as a few trays of chards and then some cilantro and some parsley. It was really amazing how quickly these mustard greens and these radishes filled in. They didn't take long to go from just these tiny babies and needing to be thinned to full-sized and well on its way to being ready to be eaten. I also planted out a bunch of Chinese cabbages, different, mustards and choys, and they're starting to get nice and big, though I have to admit they might not be a crop for the greenhouse in the spring because they like the cooler weather, and a lot of them have started to go to seed, as well as my lettuce that I have along the back of my greenhouse bed here. It's of a size that I'm happy to harvest it as baby greens, and I don't need to feel bad letting it get to be full-sized heads before ripping it out to get everything planted in here in the next week or two. I've been really excited to get in here and get harvesting these radishes. The radishes are always one of those things that reminds me just how close summer is in the spring. I really love eating them, and it's always amazing how quickly they're ready, and just how refreshing they are to have after the winter, because they're usually my first harvest. I have had some issues with pests in here. You can kind of see this pill bug on my radish. I'd never thought of them as being something that would eat my crops before, but they've been chomping away on the outside of the radish skins, and it's mostly aesthetic. They're, they haven't really compromised how well they're growing or, how good they taste, but it's definitely something I didn't think to worry about. Okay, let's get harvesting these. Pretty fun just how nice and big they've gotten. This is my favorite size on these French breakfast radishes, when they're just this, nice little fat radish. they have a little bit of spice to them. If you harvest them a little bit smaller, the spice isn't really there, but I like that little bit of a kick. So this is when I like to grab them. I love how they get long, and then that little bit of white just on the tip. They're, you know, I think they're fun radish. This is my first year growing the white radishes, and I've been really happy with the ones that I pulled out. It's pretty amazing how long and thick they've gotten. This one here is about, you know, 3-4 inches, and I found the flavor to be super mild, even though they're that little bit of a bigger size. They've been a really tasty radish, and they're definitely one that I am going to grow again in the future because they've been really good. In my thinning video, I talked a little bit about spacing on these and about why you want to leave enough space for them to be able to grow and, you know, be able to have the room that they need to get to the size that they need. And you can kind of see what this spacing that I talked about looked like after everything's grown. Some spots there's like, you know, a little bit of space there, and there's other ones where they're just touching, but everything's been able to grow to a good size. Nothing's really been stunted or limited due to lack of space. You can see it's really going to be difficult for me to be able to eat through this entire greenhouse of radishes, even with the whole family eating them every single day, you know, for the next week. It's going to be a lot of radishes just for one family. Radish greens are actually edible, but I am not going to be saving them today because I have so many radishes that it would just be too much. We like to eat them cooked, almost like a turnip green, but they also, you know, especially when they're nice and tender, like these ones are, they make a really nice salad green as well. They got a little bit of a kick to them, just mild like a radish. I'm gonna strip off these leaves, leave them in my compost, and get some of these inside. You know, some of these will just eat up raw because they make a really nice snack, almost like a carrot stick for us. I'm gonna try brining some of them, doing kind of like a pickled radish, and then I've also heard really good things about roasted radishes, so I've never tried that before, but we're gonna give those a try this year. Normally we don't grow this much radish. Part of the plan for why we grew as much of the radish crop as we did this year is because of our plan to try to donate things out of the garden, and I was going to be growing in the greenhouse anyways, so I might as well, you know, fill it as much as I can. So we're excited to see, you know, how our first donation goes, and I mean, obviously some of these red ones that were eaten by the bugs, like I was showing you, those are going to be ones that we'll keep at home. We'll pick through and we'll be donating only the best radishes. But the white ones, I think they're going to make a really good donation item. It's fun to see that the greenhouse, you know, doing these spring crops, we were able to get a harvest in that under 4 weeks window that I originally planned on, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to achieve it. So for me, it was really interesting to do these, to see just how effective the greenhouse was at growing these. Right now, as I'm harvesting these, the ones that I planted out in my main garden at the exact same time probably still have 2 weeks before I have anything to harvest off of them. So that, you know, that's That's an extra third of time that I gained on this crop by using the greenhouse. Thanks for joining me picking these radishes out here this evening. It's fun to see the greenhouse emptying out again because that means that I get to fill it up again and I have all those tomatoes that are looking really good that it won't be long until I'm harvesting those, just like I'm getting the excitement of harvesting these radishes. I have some radishes to go wash, so I'm gonna head off to do that and I'll see you guys next time. Look at this monster. This one's massive. Look at that. 6 inches. That's an impressive looking radish.